All right, so how does your dog know the type of walk that you're on? How do they know the expectations? First and foremost, the human needs to know the expectations, right? Before you leave the door, before you even grab the leash, the collar, the harness, whatever it is that you're using, you want to know in your head what is your expectation for this walk as you set out. If you, as the calm, confident leader or tour guide in this relationship, if you don't know what the expectation is, what the intention is, then how on earth can you communicate that to your dog? And how on earth can they be successful in performing what we prefer if we don't even know what we prefer, right? So first and foremost, before you set out, before you grab your gear, make a plan in your head and decide what kind of walk is this going to be. From there, you want to remember that you set the tone for the walk. You do that both in your energy, in your communication, and based on what you are reinforcing. Keep in mind that giving attention is reinforcing. So if, for example, I went to go pick up Hudson's leash and collar, and he started hopping around and flailing and jumping on me, and I proceeded to grab that collar and that leash and move toward him, I am thereby reinforcing that behavior, encouraging that behavior, telling him it's okay, acceptable, and I want it repeated, because I am proceeding to do something that he wants in that moment, which is putting his leash on and getting out of the house, right? So I suggest that every walk that you start, especially if you live in the city in Washington, D.C., or if you have a lot of neighbors nearby, and you have to be considerate of that, I suggest starting every single walk as a structured training walk. What do I mean by that? You leave the house, the apartment, wherever you are, with very clear instructions, clear expectations, clear communication. And so as we're getting ready to go, we're only engaging and offering attention when he's doing things we like and want to see repeated. We are keeping our energy calm, not a lot of talking, touching, eye contact, just setting the example of what you want. Nice calm behavior, asking for a sit perhaps to regroup. Now, as you head out, maintain those good leash manners. Maybe they sit next to you in the elevator or they stand next to you. Standing is more natural for dogs, so I'm not opposed to them standing if they can stand politely. However, if you have a dog who tends to jump or flail about and get excited, sitting is not a bad idea simply because it's incompatible with those excited behaviors. So by asking for a sit or a down, you're encouraging them to stay in that shape rather than giving a little more freedom with the stand. You know what your dog can handle. From there, when you exit the building, go right into a business break, right? Pees, poops, get the important things out of the way. And then you decide from there, okay? This is where I believe it makes most sense to offer freedom if you so choose. Now let's pretend Hudson did exactly that. He peed, he pooped, he did his business, and today is gonna be just a stroll. In that case, after he finishes his business break, I'm going to tell him, be free. I'm going to maintain very loose leash manners, meaning maybe he has more freedom, maybe I'm okay with him wandering a bit, maybe I'm okay with him getting ahead or not checking in so much. All of those things might be acceptable, but it's you need to be clear what you want and then reinforce accordingly. And then make sure that you're consistent and clear. If that expectation changes, they need to know that, right? They're not mind readers. No one is, but especially dogs. And so if we give him freedom to be free, go sniff, etc., he has that ability to be autonomous and stroll a little bit, let's say. Very good. If we then need to maintain his attention, perhaps as we pass another dog friend or distraction, then we simply need to cue that and communicate it clearly. How do we do that? So if, for example, Hudson's practicing his place, as I saw that dog coming, I already was offering reinforcement and letting him know he was doing a good job. Had I not been doing this, I would have been verbally praising as well. You want to proactively praise your dog's behavior as often as you can. Look to catch them doing good things. That's the goal. Catch them doing good things. Mark and reward it. Don't wait for them to mess up. So as a dog approaches, I'm already saying, good job, good boy, good with me, what nice decisions you're making, good job. I'm praising, treating, and reinforcing. As we walk by, maybe I'm asking for a touch. Good, touch, good. And so because Hudson has his nose to my palm, maybe even his paw on my wrist, because he has his nose to my palm, now he has a task, a job, an expectation, right? So it makes it a little easier as we have to pass that friend or other distraction. We can do that because he has a task, and I know if he's doing the cue because I'll feel his nose on my palm, right? And so for a human who then needs to multitask a little bit, watch the environment, watch our dog, praise, reinforce, still walk, etc., it gives us a little bit more bandwidth, a little bit more attention, very nice, a little bit more opportunity to still be marking, rewarding that behavior we like and want to see repeated, but also analyzing the environment so we can continue to set him up for success as best we can. So you noticed in that scenario, a human came over, started talking to him. Rather than engaging with the human, I want him to ignore. So I can ignore. That sends a really clear message both to him and to the human, right? Additionally, nice job. Very nice. It gave him good practice opportunities. Very nice. Sometimes it's irresistible to see a cute puppy, right? And so the difference between a training walk and a stroll comes down to, or any other kind of walk, maybe it's enrichment, there's a lot of gray area there. The difference between those things is first your intention, your expectations, and then your communication and reinforcement, right? Set an intention. What do you want to do before you leave the door? What are you intending? What are you hoping for? Lay out the expectation. Communicate that clearly to them, both in your cueing, your praising, your rewarding, your indication of the opportunity to go be free. Good, meaning they have the ability to be an autonomous dog, like until you tell them otherwise. Nice, good boy. And then praise and reinforce often, way more often than you think you need to. We humans, generally speaking, we're not great at spotting the positive. We're really good at spotting the negative and what's not working for us. And that's okay. There's a lot of reasons for that. It's biological. It's ingrained in us. It is what it is. But so perhaps you notice what you don't like. Start this exercise. I notice I don't like that he's jumping on me. What can I mark and reward that I like as an alternative behavior? Or what can I teach him as an alternative behavior to set him up for success? That's what we want to look for. How do we set him up for success? How do we teach him what we want? How do we clearly communicate those expectations and reinforce them? And that's why I'm of the belief, start every walk as a training walk, as a structured walk. And then after you've done the business, the important things, then allow for freedom if you so choose. You can also pivot between the two styles within the same walk. Maybe it's really structured until we go do our business. He does that. We offer a little bit of freedom. There's a sniffy break, maybe the go find game, maybe some strolling. And then maybe we pause like this for some stationary work. We practice a place cue around distractions. And then as we leave here, this is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to jump into some more structured leash manners. And then we'll go back into some freedom. So you don't have to pick one and stick with it. I would strongly suggest not doing that. Pivot often. Go with the flow. Meet him exactly where he is from moment to moment. If he starts to struggle, you go back to the last place that he was successful, or you pivot in what you're asking him to do. So for example, if we launch into really structured leash manners and he just struggles, is having a really hard time, then I'm going to do what I need to do to set him up for success and do something different. Maybe that means we go into strolling. Maybe we go into some sniffy break. Hudson. Oh, we knocked a treat in between the cracks. Oops. And so stay in the moment as best you can. If you're engaged with them, it makes it easier for them to stay engaged with you. Be clear, go fine on your expectations, communicate it, reward often, and have fun with it. Practice often. Keep it short, keep it fun, keep it light. It makes it more enjoyable for all involved, but it also helps them retain the information that they're learning much more easily if it's coming from a positive and fun place rather than a forced or fearful place. So, go work with your dog.